Hey YouTube, it's Patrick, and today I'm going to be talking about transferring money over the internet. However, I'm not going to talk about the standard either Bitcoin or alt currencies. I'm going to be talking about Dwolla. And the reason why I'm going to be talking about Dwolla is that I've recently won some money over the internet, and I had to start a Dwolla account in order to accept this. So I did, and I got my money. And I started really taking a look at Dwolla and its features, and I realized that it makes a lot of sense for anybody that owns a web business or does any kind of money transactions over the internet, that it might be beneficial that they have a Dwolla account. And the reason for that being is that they're just way cheaper. The standard, I did a lot of business over the internet. I had an eBay store. I also did a couple other internet stores as well. And of course you have to use PayPal because it's the most common money transfer, internet money transfer system out there. And it's got over 7 billion users, or I don't know, whatever every time you log on there used to be a user count on how many people use PayPal. However, obviously doing business on eBay and PayPal, you're paying a lot into eBay because eBay owns PayPal. They eventually bought out PayPal when it became so popular. And you're seeing this business. That's why I actually don't do business with eBay or anything. There's just too much transaction cost for it to be really worth it for myself. Either that, I really couldn't be competitive with pricing, so I'd have to adjust this into the pricing. So I am looking to start individual websites and bringing in just traffic yourself. Yeah, you're not going to have as high as traffic, but if you bring good customer service and a personality, even though it's over the internet and personality is hard to tell, but if you really bring that customer service to your customer, they're going to come back to you and you'll have a higher retention rate. Whereas eBay is more random and it's a lot of higher competition as well. So if you had your own website, you can market to your customers directly. And knowing that I plan to do websites in the future, I'm always looking for ways to accept money. And if you know that I'm going to, of course, accept Bitcoin on any website that I ever do, that'll be a standard. Now, what alt currency will I also accept? That's the big question. It would be Dogecoin or Litecoin or something of the sort. But anyway, Dwolla really is a cheap alternative to PayPal. It's you can pay them $10 and you get unlimited money transfers, or you could pay 25 cents per transaction. And compared to PayPal, I was paying them about $1.50 per item on, like, say, a $20 item. You're paying, I forget the exact percentage what PayPal charges, but it's pretty hefty. And of course that goes up and down with, sometimes with smaller transactions they would actually increase their charges. So if you're selling an item for $1, you might have to pay them like, 75 cents, which is ridiculous. Whereas Dwolla, it's a fixed rate, 25 cents, or you can pay them $10 a month and you get the unlimited. And this just seems, really beneficial, and you can really steer people. Like I said, on a website you can have your PayPal for one price, and then if you're going to save money, you Dwolla for $1 cheaper. And you might be saving $1.50, so still you're making more money than you would be selling it with PayPal, and the customer is getting a cheaper item. So if you did this, you can steer your traffic. A lot of people, I think, would eventually get Dwolla accounts. Now, the funny thing is, Dwolla also relates to Bitcoin into the fact that I guess it got some of its popularity because a lot of the early Bitcoin exchanges accepted Dwolla. So as Bitcoin became more popular, so did Dwolla. And they said they won't endorse Bitcoin, which, once again, that's rivals with their business. If everybody used Bitcoin, there would be no really point for Dwolla. So they don't want to put their foot in their mouth and endorse it. But they definitely do business with it. And if you're ever looking to sell Bitcoin online, Dwolla might be a good way to change your Bitcoin to cash. As far as like the company history of Dwolla, they've been around since 2009. They're part of, they actually say on their website, we don't actually hold your money or anything. It's part of this Viridian credit union, which is the biggest credit union in Iowa. Oh yeah, and that's the other good thing about Dwolla, is that it's actually US based. It was come by two guys in Iowa, and that's why they work with this credit union out of Iowa, I would imagine, because it's out of their hometown. But anyway, yeah, so it's a US-backed company or US-based company that started with 2 employees. Now they have 15, and these are old numbers, so that could have grown in the few years since I think I got some information from 2011. Of course, that's 3 years ago. So, and you know, this Viridian Credit Union, they seem well established. They've been in business since like I think 1934, and like I said, they're Iowa's largest credit union. So they're actually one of the people holding your money, you know, if you leave it in your Dwolla account. So tell me what you think. If you have an internet business, will you start, you know, accepting Dwolla? I do have one more website that I do business on, and I currently accept PayPal. They do not offer a Bitcoin option, but I currently accept PayPal on there, and I just recently, since I got a Dwolla account, started accepting Dwolla. However, I haven't done any transactions yet with Dwolla, so I'm curious to see how smooth it is, and I'm sure more transactions I do and the more used to it I'll get, the easier it'll be. But yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think you want to try Dwolla out for your internet business. I'm sure it's got to be, you know, pretty easy to get one of their buttons, you know, under the HTML or whatever. You just throw it on your website, and then just linking accounts and whatnot. But yeah, so I hope you at least look into it and give it an option. I have no affiliation, of course, with Dwolla. I'm in Ohio, they're in Iowa. But I just thought it was for lowering transaction costs over the internet. I really think it's a safe and viable method to do so. So I hope you learned something. I hope you found this interesting, and I'll see you on YouTube.